Chapter 1. The Crack in the Armor. In that surreal November 2019 moment, the illusion of invincibility surrounding Tesla took a hit as palpable as the steel ball against the window. The incident would be replayed endlessly on news feeds, a viral spectacle and a metaphor for cracks forming in Tesla's armor. For years, Elon Musk had presided as the rockstar CEO, a visionary, seemingly bending reality to his will, launching rockets, creating self-driving cars, and becoming the world's richest man. Tesla, his electric car company, had soared to unimaginable heights of market value and cultural cachet. Musk himself carefully cultivated a persona equal parts tech messiah and internet provocateur. Yet beneath the hype and bravado, pressures were mounting. Geopolitical winds were shifting. Competitors were catching up. Media narratives turned from fawning to skeptical. Musk's own behavior grew increasingly erratic, stoking as much controversy as admiration. And globally, powerful forces, from US-China tensions to worldwide supply chain disruptions, threatened to derail Tesla's ride. The shattered Cybertruck window was more than a PR blunder. It was the harbinger of a larger unraveling. How did we get here? To understand the impending doom encircling Tesla, we must rewind to the very beginning, to the company's unlikely birth and meteoric rise. The road that led to this fraught moment is a twisting saga of innovation, ambition, hubris, and geopolitical intrigue. From humble beginnings in Silicon Valley to global dominance, and now to whispers of decline, this is the dramatic story of Elon Musk's electric empire and the forces that promise to bring it crashing down. The stage is set, the cracks have appeared, and the fate of Tesla teeters on the edge. What began with a cracked window may end with a shattered empire. As we journey through Tesla's past triumphs and present trials, each chapter will reveal how the once unassailable company found itself ensnared in conflicts of its own making, and those far beyond its control. The story of Tesla's doom is not a sudden crash, but a slow, tension-filled unraveling that spans continents and decades, and it's only just beginning. Chapter 2. Genesis of an Electric Dream. Silicon Valley, 2003. A small garage in San Carlos, California, hums with the energy of possibility. Here, two engineers, Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning, lay the groundwork for a revolutionary startup. Inspired by the belief that electric cars could break the world's addiction to oil, they incorporate a company named Tesla Motors in July 2003. Their aim is bold: marry high-performance sports car excitement with zero-emission electric efficiency. The company's namesake, inventor Nikola Tesla, symbolizes innovation and rebellion against the status quo. But for now, Tesla Motors is just an ambitious idea in search of funding and a leader capable of turning sci-fi into reality. Enter Elon Musk, the South African-born .com millionaire, fresh off the success of PayPal. Musk's visionary charisma and personal wealth make him the perfect champion for Tesla's cause. In early 2004, he invests $6.5 million of his own money, the majority of Tesla's initial funding, and becomes chairman of the board. With Musk's backing, the founders press ahead to create an electric sports car prototype. Their inspiration, the Zero, an AC propulsion electric roadster that proved EVs could be thrilling. Musk, Eberhard, and a tiny team of idealists set out to prove the doubters wrong, sketching designs and testing lithium-ion battery packs late into the night. A new kind of car company is being born, one that fuses Silicon Valley tech culture with the staid auto industry, aiming to do nothing less than change the world. By 2006, Tesla unveils the Roadster, a sleek electric two-seater built on a Lotus chassis. It promises over 200 miles per charge and sports car performance, unheard of for an EV at the time. Early reviews are glowing, and a who's who of Hollywood and tech elites, from George Clooney to Google's founders, place deposits. But behind the scenes, Tesla is burning through cash and fighting through engineering challenges. Building cars is notoriously capital-intensive, and as a startup, Tesla has no steady revenue yet, just a vision fueled by investment dollars. Musk pours more of his personal fortune into the venture, determined to will it into success. He later recounts this period as extremely precarious. "I've sunk $70 million of my own money into Tesla," he reminds anyone who questions his commitment. The pressure on the small company is immense. 2008. The global economy is in meltdown from the financial crisis, and Tesla is not spared. Costs on the Roadster project spiral upward. As the year winds down, Tesla faces a make-or-break crisis. It is nearly bankrupt, desperately needing an infusion of cash to survive. The situation becomes so dire that an automotive blog launches a morbid Tesla death watch, counting down the days until the company's expected collapse. Musk, now formally CEO, after a power struggle that ousted Eberhard, cuts staff by 25% and scrambles to raise emergency funds. In a last-minute Christmas Eve deal, December 2008, he secures $40 million in convertible debt to keep the lights on, staving off bankruptcy by mere days. "That was the closest we ever came to dying," Musk will later reflect with a shudder. "It's a Herculean feat of survival, but Tesla lives to fight another day." In early 2009, salvation arrives from an unlikely source. Germany's auto giant Daimler, AG, maker of Mercedes-Benz, buys a nearly 10% stake in Tesla for $50 million. The cash and credibility from this partnership are a lifeline. The Daimler investment saved Tesla, Musk admits. Soon after, the US Department of Energy awards Tesla a $465 million low-interest loan to develop a more affordable electric sedan. With this boost, Tesla repays its remaining debts and even shows a tiny profit in July 2009, a hint of business viability on the horizon. The electric dream is alive. Suspenseful narrative. In these formative years, Tesla was always on the brink, a newcomer swimming with corporate sharks in the collapsing economy's stormy seas. But through sheer grit, hustle, and Musk's willingness to risk his fortune, the company cheated death. Each near miss only strengthened Musk's messianic resolve. The stage was set for an against-all-odds comeback that would astonish the world. Yet even as Tesla clawed out of the abyss, one has to wonder, were seeds of future troubles quietly planted amid those frantic early triumphs? Foreshadowing. Tesla's genesis story is one of survival and audacity. The young company proved it could weather disaster, but the greatest tests were yet to come. Musk had won the first battle by keeping Tesla alive. Now he was about to launch it on an explosive trajectory of growth. Little did he know, new conflicts and temptations would emerge alongside success, sowing the kernels of chaos that years later could doom his creation. Chapter 3. Rise of the Electric Empire. By 2010, Tesla Motors has navigated through the valley of death and is ready to soar. In June of that year, Tesla goes public on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange at $17 a share. The first American car company to IPO since Ford in 1956. Skeptics abound. After all, Tesla sold only a few hundred Roadsters and has never turned an annual profit. But believers see a potential tech juggernaut. The IPO raises over $226 million, giving Tesla the cash to fund its next big move. The Model S. This all-electric luxury sedan, launched in 2012, is Tesla's make-or-break bid to become more than a niche player. Model S arrives to rave reviews. It isn't just good for an electric car, it's a legitimate luxury sports sedan that beats German rivals in many metrics. It wins 2013 Motor Trend Car of the Year unanimously, a historic first for an EV. With sleek styling, blistering acceleration, and over 250 miles of range, the Model S shatters preconceived notions of what electric cars can do. Customers flock to Tesla stores, galleries in upscale malls, another break from dealership tradition, to place orders. Meanwhile, the company quietly set up a network of supercharger stations, offering free fast charging to Tesla owners, alleviating range anxiety. Silicon Valley tech culture permeates everything Tesla does, pushing constant over-the-air software updates to add features to its cars, something no traditional automaker had attempted at scale. Elon Musk's star is rising in tandem with Tesla's. He is no longer just a scrappy entrepreneur, but a bona fide celebrity CEO. Charismatic and media savvy, Musk courts publicity for both himself and his companies. In 2010, he appears as a cameo in the Hollywood blockbuster Iron Man 2, cementing the comparison of Musk to Tony Stark. The public starts to see him as a real-life superhero of innovation, the man making electric cars sexy and space exploration cool again. Musk's outsized personality becomes inseparable from Tesla's brand. He's constantly on Twitter, engaging directly with fans, dripping teasers of upcoming products, and proclaiming lofty missions like accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. As Tesla's valuation climbs, Musk's net worth does too, and he plows much of it back into ambitious ventures: Tesla, SpaceX, Solar City. He fashions himself as a visionary on a mission to save humanity, and many ardent followers truly believe he might just pull it off. 2013, Tesla achieves its first profitable quarter selling the Model S, sending the stock soaring. The company repays its DOE loan early, with interest, scoring political points. Short sellers who had bet against Tesla incur painful losses as the stock's momentum builds, a portent of bigger battles with Wall Street to come. Tesla expands aggressively. It buys the NUMMI Auto Factory in Fremont, California, a shuttered Toyota GM plant, and retools it as its own production base. Musk's penchant for showmanship and bold promises grows. He proclaims plans for gigafactories to mass-produce batteries and hints at self-driving capabilities on the horizon. By 2015 to 2016, Tesla unveils the Model X SUV and the mass-market Model 3 concept, both critical to its strategy of eventually bringing EVs to the masses. The Model X launch in 2015, with its flashy Falcon Wing doors, is rocky, production delays and cost overruns. But customers finally get their high-tech electric SUVs. Musk doesn't slow down. In 2016, he grandiosely renames the company from Tesla Motors to just Tesla Inc., signaling a broadened scope beyond cars, solar panels, home batteries, and more. He even acquires Solar City, a solar firm run by his cousins. That same year, Tesla introduces autopilot driver assist software, pushing the envelope on semi-autonomous driving tech. Musk boasts that full self-driving is only a couple years away, an audacious claim that excites many and unnerves others. By the end of 2017, Tesla is riding high on hype and hope. The company is valued at tens of billions of dollars, surpassing Ford and General Motors in market capitalization, despite a fraction of their sales. In early 2018, Musk's fame and ego reached new heights. He launches a cherry red Tesla Roadster into space aboard a SpaceX rocket as a publicity stunt, literally sending his car to orbit the sun. It's a powerful symbol of Musk's boundary-pushing brand of tech theater. To his legions of fans, he can do no wrong. He is reinventing automobiles, energy, and space travel all at once. Tesla's narrative is now one of world-changing potential. The company has survived startup struggles and is poised to revolutionize how we drive and live. Musk even muses about one day using Tesla technology on Martian colonies. Nothing seems impossible. But as Tesla's profile skyrockets, so do expectations and the pressure on Musk. Beneath the surface, cracks are quietly forming. The Model 3 production, slated for 2017, is proving far more challenging than anticipated. Delays and quality issues lurk in the background. Musk's habit of overpromising, like claiming 500,000 cars per year by 2018, far above reality, sets up potential public stumbles. Moreover, competitors, from Nissan's Leaf to GM's Bolt and a coming wave of European and Chinese EVs, are finally gearing up to challenge Tesla's head start. Some industry watchers whisper that Tesla's stock is a bubble, inflated by faith in Musk more than financial fundamentals. Indeed, by early 2018, the company is burning cash and still not consistently profitable. Musk juggles multiple roles, running SpaceX and other ventures alongside Tesla, and rarely sleeps, by his own admission. The heroic narrative is about to meet a harsh dose of reality. For now, however, the Tesla juggernaut appears unstoppable. Elon Musk stands at the pinnacle of tech celebrity, his electric empire seemingly destined to conquer the auto industry and save the planet in the process. From a tiny garage startup, Tesla has become a global disruptor, prodding century-old car companies to scramble after electric and autonomous technology. It's a classic rise of an empire story, the little Davids of Tesla taking on the Goliaths of Detroit, Germany, and Japan, and winning, at least in the court of public opinion and stock market value. But history has shown that rapid rises often precede dramatic falls. The higher Tesla climbed, the more treacherous the path became. Even as Musk basks in glory, storm clouds gather on the horizon. His relentless drive and showmanship, once Tesla's greatest assets, are about to give way to overextension and controversy. The empire is at its zenith. Ahead lie the moments that will test Musk's empire and character like never before. The first cracks in Tesla's facade are about to appear, and the ensuing drama will push the company and its mercurial leader to the brink. Chapter 4: Storm Clouds and Turning Tides. 2018. The year begins with promise and peril. Tesla is deep in what Musk famously calls production hell, trying to ramp up the Model 3, its first mass-market car priced around $35,000. Determined to hit ambitious production targets, Musk practically moves onto the factory floor, micromanaging around the clock. He later recalls sleeping in a sleeping bag atop the assembly line, refusing to go home for days on end. The stress is visible. In interviews, Musk appears bleary-eyed and emotionally frayed. "This is the most painful year of my career," he confesses. Tesla is burning through nearly $1 billion a quarter. Its survival now hinges on scaling Model 3 output to tens of thousands per month. A feat critics claim is impossible for a young company. It's a make-or-break crucible for Tesla, and Musk is at his breaking point. As pressure mounts internally, Musk's behavior grows erratic in public. In April 2018, during a Tesla earnings call with analysts, Musk shocks Wall Street by cutting off questions about finances, snapping that he won't answer boring, bonehead questions. The stock tumbles as analysts fume at his flippancy. It's a startling break from standard CEO decorum. Musk's impulsive streak is beginning to show. A few months later, in July, Musk launches into a bizarre feud. A team of cave divers rescues a group of Thai children trapped in a flooded cave, and Musk, who had built a mini-submarine to help, feels slighted when a British diver dismisses his sub as impractical. Musk retaliates on Twitter by calling the rescuer a pedo guy, an unfounded insult that leads to a defamation lawsuit. Though Musk later wins the case in court, the episode raises eyebrows. Why would a billionaire CEO hurl such a grotesque accusation on a whim? Tesla's board and PR team can only cringe as Musk's Twitter fingers seem increasingly unhinged. Nothing, however, could top the bombshell Musk drops on August 7, 2018. In the midst of a trading day, Musk suddenly tweets from his official account, "Am considering taking Tesla private at $420. Funding secured." Pandemonium ensues. Tesla's stock price jumps as this extraordinary news ricochets across the globe. $420 per share would be a massive premium. If true, it'd be one of the biggest leveraged buyouts ever. But is it true? Over the next hours and days, confusion and skepticism mount. No one in Tesla's board or finance team seems prepared for Musk's tweet. Media scramble for answers. Musk insists he has investor support, later hinting at Saudi Arabia's sovereign fund, but offers no proof. The phrase "funding secured" becomes infamous. As it turns out, funding was far from secure. The SEC accuses Musk of securities fraud, saying he made false and misleading statements and caused market chaos without actual deals in place. Investors who scramble to buy at inflated prices feel misled. Tesla's stock whipsaws violently in the ensuing weeks. Facing a lawsuit, Musk doubles down defiantly before ultimately striking a settlement with regulators. He agrees to pay a $20 million fine and step down as Tesla's chairman for at least 3 years. He remains CEO. A humbling black mark on his record. It's a stunning turn. The same Elon Musk, once hailed as a business genius, now branded by authorities as a rule breaker who played fast and loose with shareholder trust. This period reveals the Jekyll and Hyde nature of Musk's public persona. On one hand, he's a brilliant showman who had just staged a spectacular Tesla Model 3 launch event and even teased future products like a new Roadster and an electric semi-truck. On the other, he's behaving recklessly, flouting securities laws via tweets, lambasting journalists who write negative articles. He even floated creating a site called Pravda to rate the credibility of reporters, accusing media of lying about Tesla, and engaging in late-night Twitter wars. The cult of personality that boosted Tesla is beginning to overshadow the company itself in unsettling ways. In September 2018, as if to cap this tumultuous chapter, Musk appears on Joe Rogan's popular podcast and, on camera, takes a puff from a marijuana joint. The image of the Tesla CEO smoking weed goes viral. Memes of a red-eyed Musk circulate widely. While many find it hilarious, some shareholders and Tesla's partners, notably NASA, which contracts with Musk's SpaceX, are uneasy about the optics of such behavior from a high-profile leader. The aura of invincibility around Musk is slipping, replaced by an unpredictable edge. Amidst these distractions, Tesla does manage to pull through its production hell. By late 2018 into 2019, Model 3 production finally ramps up and sales start pouring in. Tesla's revenues jump and, for brief moments, it even posts small profits. Many customers adore their Model 3s. It seems Tesla has survived another near-death corporate experience. But the strain on Musk shows. At a Tesla event in 2019, he jokes about the mental toll. "I think we're like a few weeks from dying." In 2018, he admits candidly, eliciting nervous laughter. Investors, too, remain divided. Some see vindication of Musk's genius in achieving the Model 3 ramp. Others worry the sideshow antics have tarnished Tesla's brand with potential buyers and regulators. If Musk needed a clear sign to course correct, the Cybertruck fiasco in November 2019 provided it. The shattered windows on stage, as described in the prologue, became symbolic of Musk's overconfidence colliding with reality. He had confidently hyped the Cybertruck's armor glass, only to be publicly embarrassed. To his credit, Musk laughed it off in the moment. "Room for improvement," he quipped later. And Tesla claimed a huge number of Cybertruck pre-orders afterward. The fiasco didn't immediately hurt Tesla's standing with its devoted fan base. In fact, some thought the spectacle only gave the Cybertruck more publicity. But internally, it likely stung. Here was a physical manifestation of over-promising and under-delivering, a habit Musk was becoming known for. It foreshadowed the delays that would plague the Cybertruck project. Production would slip later, from an initial 2021 target to 2023 and beyond. By the end of 2019, Tesla's narrative was at an inflection point. The company had weathered multiple crises, financial, operational, and self-inflicted, and improbably turned the corner. It even secured new funding and was gearing up to open its first factory in China. But Elon Musk's personal journey through these storms left scars. He had tested the limits of investor and public trust, and while he emerged still in control of Tesla, the range of enemies and skeptics grew. From Wall Street short sellers to journalists, from federal regulators to former loyalists turned critics. The media, once largely starstruck, now more frequently highlighted Tesla's quality problems, autopilot accidents, and Musk's erratic leadership. The honeymoon was over. As 2020 loomed, Tesla finally had momentum. But at what cost? Musk had learned he could not entirely bulldoze through laws or physics with sheer willpower. Yet his risk-taking appetite remained undiminished. The company's next challenges would not just come from within, but from the outside world on a scale it had never faced. A global pandemic, supply chain chaos, geopolitical battles, and shifting political winds. Tesla was about to be tested in the context of worldwide upheaval, and Musk's mettle as a leader would be challenged anew. The storm clouds gathered through 2018 to 19 were about to break open into a tempest. Having endured a production hell of its own making, Tesla was about to confront a literal global crisis. Ahead lay a period in which fortune and fiasco would again dance unpredictably for Musk's empire. Would Tesla emerge stronger than ever, or would these external pressures compound the cracks already visible? The tides were turning, and the next chapter of Tesla's story would unfold on a world stage neither Musk nor his company could control. Chapter 5: Global Crosswinds, Triumphs and Tensions. 2020 dawned with Tesla seemingly on a triumphant upswing. In early January, Elon Musk stood on a stage in Shanghai, China, celebrating the first Model 3 cars rolling out of Tesla's brand new Gigafactory there, a plant built in record time to tap into the world's largest electric vehicle market. In a viral moment, Musk even broke into an awkward dance at the event, stripping off his jacket to cheers and laughter. It was a lighthearted symbol of how far Tesla had come, from begging for funds in Silicon Valley to being courted by China as an automotive innovator. The Shanghai factory, Gigafactory 3, was crucial. It let Tesla avoid steep tariffs from the US-China trade war and dramatically increase sales in Asia. By the end of 2020, the Model 3 became the best-selling EV in China for a time. Musk often praised the Chinese government's efficiency and support, a stark contrast to his increasingly contentious relationship with regulators back home. But this partnership with China would soon prove to be a double-edged sword. First, however, came a challenge no one foresaw: a global pandemic. When COVID-19 struck in early 2020, it disrupted industries worldwide, and auto manufacturing ground to a halt. In California, local authorities ordered Tesla's Fremont factory to shut down in March under health lockdowns. Musk, who had long chafed at regulations he deemed impediments, erupted in defiance. He took to Twitter repeatedly to downplay the virus's severity and excoriate the lockdown as fascist and unnecessary. By May, Musk defied county orders and reopened the factory early, daring officials to arrest him. "If anyone is arrested, I ask that it only be me," he proclaimed. This public showdown captured Musk's evolving persona, the maverick CEO willing to confront government head-on. Ultimately, local authorities blinked and allowed Tesla to resume operations with safety measures, but Musk's relationship with California politicians soured. He soon made good on a threat to move Tesla's headquarters out of California. By late 2021, Tesla officially relocated its HQ to Texas, a state with a friendlier business environment and, notably, no state income tax for Musk. The California clash underscored Musk's libertarian streak and willingness to leverage Tesla's importance as a major employer to get his way. It also won him newfound fans among those opposed to COVID restrictions, aligning him inadvertently with a more conservative anti-establishment crowd. Despite the pandemic, Tesla had a banner 2020. The company adeptly navigated supply chain issues. Where other automakers shut down for lack of semiconductors, Tesla's engineers rewrote software on the fly to use whatever chips they could find. Agility kept production moving while rivals floundered. Tesla delivered a record number of cars and even managed its first full year of profitability, a milestone over 17 years in the making. In December, Tesla's meteoric stock, which had surged more than 700% over the year, led to its inclusion in the prestigious S&P 500 index. At that moment, Tesla's market capitalization topped $600 billion, eclipsing the value of the next several largest automakers combined. Musk's personal fortune skyrocketed, and by January 2021, he briefly became the richest person in the world as Tesla's stock peaked. Wall Street, it seemed, had finally bought into Musk's vision completely, valuing Tesla not as a niche car maker, but as a transformative tech powerhouse of the future. However, the lofty valuation invited talk of a bubble. In early 2021, veteran investors warned that Tesla's stock had become untethered from reality. Indeed, after hitting an all-time high, it pulled back sharply in February 2021. Losing hundreds of billions in market cap within weeks. The volatility was extreme, a sign that sentiment, not just fundamentals, drove Tesla's worth. Musk couldn't resist poking at this. In a jokey tweet in May 2020, he had said, "Tesla stock price too high causing a dip." It was as if even he recognized the absurdity of the market frenzy. Still, Tesla bulls held firm, convinced this was not pets.com, circa 2000, but more akin to Amazon, a disruptor whose early rich valuation would eventually be justified by domination. Globally, Tesla's ascent was forcing change. European automakers raced to launch competing EVs to meet EU emissions rules. Upstarts in China like NIO, XPeng, and BYD popped up, explicitly emulating Tesla's tech and brand, even poaching some talent. Tesla's Gigafactory Shanghai gave it local clout, but it also meant relying on the Chinese supply chain and market more than ever. By 2021, nearly 40% of Tesla's supply chain for battery materials was traced to Chinese companies, and China accounted for a huge portion of Tesla's sales and growth. This wasn't without risk. Geopolitical tensions between the US and China simmered. In March 2021, news broke that the Chinese military had banned Teslas from its facilities over fears the car's numerous cameras could spy on secure locations. Some likened it to how the US treated Huawei, a foreign tech company seen as a security threat. Musk had to personally address this, assuring that Tesla would never use the data its vehicles collect for espionage. It was an early warning that operating in China came with strings attached, especially as US-China relations worsened. If Beijing ever turned against Tesla, it could be devastating, a fact not lost on observers as Musk navigated this geopolitical tightrope. Meanwhile, on the home front in the US, political shifts were affecting Tesla indirectly. Under President Trump, 2017 to 2020, there had been a mixture of pros and cons for Tesla. On one hand, Trump's corporate tax cuts and a generally soaring stock market benefited Tesla's valuation. On the other, Trump rolled back environmental regulations and promoted fossil fuels, often downplaying climate change, the very problem Tesla aimed to solve. Musk initially engaged with Trump, joining advisory councils to advocate for issues like sustainable energy. But he publicly quit those roles in 2017, when Trump withdrew the US from the Paris Climate Accord, tweeting, "Climate change is real. Leaving Paris is not good for America or the world. That high-profile break showed Musk balancing his principles against political access. Still, Musk remained somewhat aligned with Trump-era attitudes in other ways, notably his distaste for regulation and affinity for Twitter as a megaphone. By late 2020, a new administration under President Biden took over, promising to accelerate EV adoption as part of a climate agenda. At first glance, this seemed tailor-made for Tesla, but unexpectedly, a political snub came. In 2021, the Biden White House held an EV industry event highlighting American automakers, inviting GM and Ford, but not Tesla, reportedly due to Tesla's non-union workforce. Biden has strong ties to labor unions. Musk, feeling slighted, vented on Twitter, calling it odd that Tesla was excluded despite its EV leadership. Over time, Musk's relationship with the Biden administration remained cold, and he increasingly made overtures toward Republicans, complaining of bias, and even saying in 2022 that he might vote GOP after historically voting Democrat. Such shifts hinted at Musk's growing identification with contrarian, anti-establishment sentiments that resonated more on the right. This transformation of Musk's public persona, from climate tech hero welcomed by Obama to edgy free speech warrior retweeted by conservatives, would have profound implications for Tesla's brand down the line. Through 2021, Tesla experienced both the thrill of victory and the agony of looming challenges. On one hand, Tesla was everywhere. Police forces buying Cybertrucks in anticipation, Tesla memes flooding the internet, and the company's valuation crossing the mythical $1 trillion mark in October 2021. Tesla. On the other, incidents cast shadows. Multiple crashes of Tesla vehicles on autopilot, including a high-profile fatal accident in Florida and another in Texas, raised questions about the safety of Musk's aggressive self-driving claims. The US NHTSA opened investigations, and some safety advocates accused Tesla of beta testing on public roads. Supply chain whack-a-mole continued too. Shortages of everything from chips to ship cargo space forced Tesla to constantly adapt. Musk's hands-on management style, firing off emails at 1 a.m. demanding heroic efforts, kept Tesla pushing ahead, but employees privately described burnout and high turnover. Musk even dissolved Tesla's PR department in 2020, choosing to communicate mostly via Twitter and letting his cult-like fan community handle a lot of myth-making and defense of the brand online. It was an unprecedented approach, risky but so far working. Internationally, Tesla faced policy shifts. In Europe, stricter emissions rules fined automakers who didn't sell enough EVs, effectively benefiting Tesla, which could sell regulatory credits. But Europe's own automakers struck back with a slate of new EV models in 2021, nibbling at Tesla's dominance. In China, the government reduced EV subsidies, and local competitors flooded the market with cheaper models, forcing Tesla to intermittently cut prices. Tesla's cachet as a premium brand also took a hit in China after a well-publicized protest in April 2021. A disgruntled owner climbed atop a Tesla at an auto show, shouting about brake failures, which went viral on Chinese social media. State media criticized Tesla's handling of the complaint. The episode hinted that Tesla, once China's EV golden child, could easily fall from grace if public sentiment turned, or if authorities decided to tighten the leash. Yet, despite these headwinds, 2021 ended on a high note for Tesla. It delivered over 936,000 vehicles that year, nearly double the prior years, defying chip shortages that saw other manufacturers slump. Musk was named Time's Person of the Year. It seemed nothing could slow Tesla's momentum. The company even moved into new lines of business, developing energy storage projects, opening its charging network to other car brands, and teasing the Optimus humanoid robot concept as evidence Tesla was more than a car company. Critics saw it as distraction from real issues. Wall Street analysts, once skeptical, now issued price targets assuming Tesla would dominate not just autos, but also energy, AI, and more. The global crosswinds of 2020 to 2021 showcased Tesla at its strongest, agile, innovative, and ascendant on multiple continents, yet also revealed the vulnerabilities that come with worldwide operations. Geopolitics and global crises now directly impacted Tesla's destiny. Musk had navigated the pandemic and trade wars successfully so far, but these forces were unpredictable. For the moment, Tesla could claim victory. It had outperformed incumbents, expanded globally, and weathered COVID. Musk was on top of the world, literally launching astronauts to space with SpaceX and joking online with newfound bravado. But triumph can breed complacency, and tensions that quietly build can suddenly snap. The geopolitical tightrope Tesla walked, especially its heavy reliance on China, and Musk's own shifting political stance were about to converge in troubling ways. Moreover, an unforeseen personal endeavor of Musk's was looming on the horizon, one that would entangle Tesla's fate with the chaos of social media and politics like never before. As 2022 approached, the stage was set for a series of events that would bring Tesla to the brink once again, this time amid a broader reckoning on the world stage. Chapter 6: Collision Course, Musk, Media, and the Market Meltdown. In 2022, the swirling currents around Elon Musk and Tesla converged into a perfect storm. What had been abstract concerns, Musk's behavior, Tesla's dependence on goodwill, global competition, suddenly became very real and very costly. The year would see Tesla's stock plunge, its reputation polarized, and its CEO embroiled in one of the most controversial business moves of the decade. The theme of this chapter is collision, between Musk and the media, between Tesla's lofty valuation and market reality, and between the US and China in a tug-of-war that ensnares Tesla. It all kicked off with Musk's surprise decision in April 2022 to attempt a takeover of Twitter, the social media platform that had been his favored communication tool. Frustrated with Twitter's content moderation and declaring a mission to protect free speech, Musk offered to buy Twitter for $44 billion. The saga was tumultuous. He tried to back out, Twitter sued, and by October 2022, Musk found himself the owner of Twitter, which he'd later rebrand as X. But this came at a heavy cost. To finance the deal, Musk sold roughly $20 billion worth of Tesla shares over 2021 to 2022, spooking investors. More critically, once he took over Twitter, Musk's attention and energy seemed divided. He spent countless hours tweeting about Twitter's policies, reinstating banned accounts, including former President Trump's, and engaging in political debates. To many, it looked like the captain of Tesla had left the bridge unattended during a storm. Investors' fears were amplified by developments in Tesla's core business. By late 2022, cracks in demand were emerging. In China, a resurgence of COVID led to draconian lockdowns, even shuttering Tesla's Shanghai factory for weeks. When it reopened, a slowing Chinese economy and fierce competition from local EV makers meant Tesla had to cut prices and offer incentives to boost sales. In the US and Europe, high inflation and rising interest rates made car loans more expensive, potentially dampening consumer appetite for pricey EVs. Tesla missed its vehicle delivery targets for Q4 2022, a rare slip-up. Each of these factors alone might be manageable, but combined, and with Musk seemingly distracted, they led analysts to openly worry that Tesla's growth story was hitting a wall. The stock market turned on Tesla with a vengeance. Throughout 2022, as the Federal Reserve hiked rates and tech stocks fell out of favor, Tesla's shares underwent a historic collapse. By the end of the year, Tesla's stock price had cratered by about 65% from January to December. erasing over $700 billion in market value. Once worth over $1 trillion, Tesla suddenly traded more like a mere car company than a world-changing innovator. For a company so reliant on investor optimism, this was devastating. Tesla's stock hadn't just dipped, it had its worst year on record, far outpacing the overall market's declines. Musk's personal fortune, tied mostly to Tesla, plummeted by over $100 billion, costing him his title as world's richest. The media, which Musk often accused of bias, gleefully ran headlines about Tesla's stock crash and Musk's rough year. Inside Tesla, employees saw their stock options underwater and morale shaken. Why this dramatic shift? Some of it was macroeconomic, a general market downturn, but a large part was Musk's own making in the eyes of shareholders. A prominent investor tweet in late 2022 captured the mood. Elon abandoned Tesla, and Tesla has no working CEO. Longtime Tesla bulls pleaded for Musk to refocus on the car business and stop antagonizing half of Twitter's user base with divisive posts. Musk, however, doubled down on his new role as a Twitter provocateur. He tweeted conspiracy theories one day, polled users on major decisions the next, and waded into US culture wars, behavior that alarmed some environmentally conscious, politically moderate Tesla customers. Anecdotes surfaced of Tesla owners ditching their cars because they disliked Musk's politics or tweets. In one instance, a survey in early 2023 found Tesla's favorability had dropped significantly among Democrats, even as it rose among Republicans, a stark politicization of a brand that once transcended party lines. The media manipulation narrative came full circle. Whereas before, Musk had skillfully used social media to Tesla's advantage for free marketing, hype building, and cult engagement, now his Twitter obsession was seemingly harming Tesla's brand. For years, critics warned that Musk's unfiltered tweeting was a liability. Now those warnings looked prescient. Tesla, which historically relied on Musk's celebrity allure to eclipse its shortcomings, suddenly faced a credibility issue. Every controversial Musk tweet became a news cycle tied to Tesla. In December 2022, Musk tweeted a picture of Nazi leader Hitler to insult Canada's prime minister, a move that drew outrage and forced him to delete it. Incidents like this were far afield from making cars, yet they splashed back onto Tesla's image. The once symbiotic relationship between Musk's persona and Tesla's success had turned toxic. Even within the EV market, competition started taking a toll. In Europe, Tesla's once dominant market share was eroding. By January 2023, reports showed Tesla's sales in Europe falling sharply, while overall EV demand was rising, suggesting customers were opting for alternatives from Volkswagen, Hyundai, and others. Tesla remained the global EV leader by a good margin, but that crown was at risk if Musk's actions continued to alienate consumers or if the company couldn't refresh its lineup. The Model S and X were aging, and even the Model 3 was no longer the shiny new toy. In response to the share freefall and demand concerns, Tesla took dramatic action. In early 2023, it slashed prices on its cars globally by as much as 20% on some models to stoke demand. This was virtually unprecedented. Tesla had long a waiting list. Now it was cutting prices like a traditional automaker trying to move metal. The strategy did boost sales in the short term, but at the expense of profit margins. It also angered recent buyers who felt they overpaid, in some cases by thousands of dollars just weeks prior. Tesla's aura as a must-have, inelastic product was diminished. It was now playing the volume game in a softening market. By mid-2023, some stabilization came. Under pressure, Musk found a new CEO for Twitter, an ally, allowing him to step back a bit, and promised to devote more time to Tesla. The stock rebounded somewhat, but the events of 2022 had caused lasting damage. They exposed how tethered Tesla's fate is to Musk's behavior and whims, a strength when things are going well, a grievous weakness when they're not. And it wasn't just a financial reckoning, it was cultural. The cult of Elon had splintered. Where once Musk was broadly admired, he had now become a polarizing figure. To ardent fans, often self-proclaimed Teslaonaires or Elon stans, the criticism was just the media and shorts attacking their hero, and they doubled down in support. But to a growing segment of the public, Musk's antics turned them off to Tesla's products. Competing EV makers quietly rejoiced as some disillusioned buyers drifted their way. Then, an intriguing and consequential development occurred on the global geopolitical stage that tied back to Musk's political entanglements. After years out of office, Donald Trump mounted a campaign for the 2024 US presidency. Musk, positioning himself as a free speech advocate, had reinstated Trump's Twitter account and often engaged with right-wing figures on the platform. Reports swirled that behind the scenes, Musk had become an informal advisor to some of Trump's circle, especially on technology and China issues. Trump indeed won the 2024 election, a hypothetical scenario we consider, given Politico's reporting in early 2025. Musk's proximity to power became a flashpoint. In Europe, where Trump was deeply unpopular, Tesla's association with Musk, now seen as a Trump confidant, ignited a backlash. This was not fiction. Politico reported in March 2025 that Tesla was facing a global backlash, fueled by ire at CEO Elon Musk and his actions as a key advisor to US President Donald Trump. Particularly in Germany, a country central to Tesla's European strategy and home to a new gigafactory in Brandenburg, consumers revolted. Musk made a controversial appearance at a rally for Germany's far-right AfD party ahead of a regional election, which outraged many Germans. A staggering 94% of 100,000 Germans surveyed said they would no longer consider buying a Tesla. This is a nightmare scenario for any brand, a massive market turning hostile virtually overnight due to a CEO's political stance. Sure enough, Tesla's European sales began collapsing. By early 2025, Tesla's share of the EV market in Europe had plunged by over 50%, from 18% the year before to under 8%. Tesla's Chinese EV makers and European marques filled the void. What had taken a decade for Tesla to build in Europe, a brand admired for cutting-edge tech, was being dismantled in a matter of months by political backlash. Tesla's downward spiral is turning into a rout, the Politico article declared, noting how Chinese EVs were surging in Europe as Tesla faltered. In effect, Tesla was losing the narrative globally. The more Musk leaned into divisive politics, the more Tesla's once universal appeal shrank to a niche. Adding to Tesla's woes, the long-awaited Cybertruck launch kept slipping. Initially promised in 2021, it finally began limited production in late 2023, but only a trickle, and mostly for employees. By 2024, there were reports of technical challenges in mass-producing its angular steel exoskeleton and integrating its novel features. The fiasco energy around Cybertruck had never fully dissipated since the broken window incident. And now, each delay or quirk, like its giant windshield wiper design, which some found comical, became another dent in Tesla's armor. The Cybertruck had been meant to silence Tesla's critics and enter the lucrative pickup market dominated by Detroit. Instead, Ford's electric F-150 Lightning and Rivian's R1T beat it to market, capturing the early EV truck buzz. Tesla's first-mover advantage was eroding in key segments. As 2024 came to a close, evidence mounted that Tesla's hyper-growth phase had ended. For the first time since its early struggles, Tesla's annual sales fell year over year. One analysis noted Tesla delivered about 1.8 million vehicles in 2024, slightly fewer than in 2023, a 1% decline that, while small, was symbolically significant. It marked the end of an era of 50% average annual growth. Tesla was now facing what every automaker eventually faces: a cyclical or plateauing demand, and it was ill-prepared, having built capacity for far more. This led to something unimaginable a couple years prior: parking lots overflowing with unsold Teslas. Throughout 2024, observers using satellite imagery spotted huge stockpiles of new Teslas sitting idle at the Texas Gigafactory yard at a defunct mall in St. Louis. One report in June 2024 showed side-by-side satellite photos from late 2023 and spring 2024, where the lots were dramatically more packed later on. SAT had built nearly 47,000 more cars than it sold in the first quarter of 2024, and its deliveries were down 8.5% from the prior year. The imagery of Teslas you can see from space became a social media talking point, seized upon by Tesla's detractors as proof of overproduction and waning demand. It was as if the ghosts of 2008 and 2018, when Tesla nearly died from lack of cash or manufacturing issues, were back in a new form. This time, the issue was too much supply and not enough buyers. It's an irony that did not go unnoticed. A company once supply constrained with months-long wait lists now had inventory piling up, a classic sign of trouble in the auto industry. Musk dismissed concerns as temporary, saying logistics were smoothing out and that new price cuts would stimulate demand. But it was clear Tesla was no longer demand limited. It was limited by the size of the EV market it largely created, now shared with dozens of competitors. In financial markets, some started referring to Tesla's predicament as a mega-cap car crash, the deflation of an overhyped asset. Longtime Tesla critics like short seller Jim Chanos smugly noted that traditional metrics, like price-to-earnings ratios, were finally coming back to earth. Musk, unaccustomed to being on the back foot, tried various means to rally morale. He tweeted optimistically about forthcoming products, the delayed next-gen Roadster, a robo-taxi, etc., even floated doing a small share buyback to signal confidence. But these moves had limited effect. Tesla's stock, while up from its 2022 nadir, remained far below its peak, and more importantly, the faith in Tesla's inevitability had been shaken. By the end of this chapter, the audience can sense Tesla is teetering at a crossroads. Musk is embattled, trying to balance running a car company, a social media company, and his space company all at once, while also entangled with political figures that alienate key markets. The collision course that Tesla has been on, where all the conflicts we've discussed converge, has led to something of a wreck. The once unstoppable force has hit an immovable object: reality. Tesla is not yet literally doomed in the sense of bankruptcy or ceasing operations. It's still producing cars by the hundreds of thousands and innovating. But the mythos of Tesla as a world-saving, unassailable venture has been gravely wounded. The company now looks, acts, and struggles like a more ordinary automaker, subject to supply and demand and public opinion, not just to Musk's will. However, the story is not quite over. As we transition to the final chapter, there is a sense of uneasy calm after the storm. Tesla has absorbed the collision's impact, but is left dented and directionless. What comes next? Does Elon Musk have a final act to turn the tide once more in Tesla's favor? Or will the forces that have battered Tesla in recent years continue to erode its standing? The narrative holds its breath as the electric empire stands at the brink, not an immediate implosion, but a slow, ominous downward spiral. The doom that was once just a provocative thesis now feels tangible, but with Musk, one can never be sure what tomorrow brings. Chapter 7: The Edge of the Abyss, a Geopolitical Reckoning. As 2025 begins, a palpable tension hangs over Tesla. The company remains a key player in the EV revolution it sparked, but the landscape around it has transformed dramatically. What was once Tesla versus the world, with Tesla as a daring underdog, has become the world versus Tesla, with the company now cast as a beleaguered incumbent facing challenges on multiple fronts. In this chapter, the central conflict reaches a climax. Tesla stands at the edge of an abyss, confronted with the cumulative consequences of the story so far. And this conflict is as much geopolitical and societal as it is economic. Tesla's fate has become intertwined with global currents beyond any one man's control, even Elon Musk's. In Washington, D.C., a newly inaugurated President Trump, 2025, touts Musk as a great friend and genius innovator in public, giving Tesla a sort of unofficial endorsement from the Oval Office. But Trump's return also brings volatility. Renewed trade wars loom as he vows to decouple further from China, and even hints at new tariffs on European cars if the EU doesn't play ball on other issues. Tesla, ironically, could be collateral damage. A trade war with China might result in Beijing retaliating against American companies like Tesla that rely on Chinese factories and consumers. Likewise, Trump's saber-rattling at the EU, now aggravated by Europe's resentment of Musk's Trump ties, could spur European regulators to tighten the screws on Tesla. Rumors circulate that the EU might consider banishing Tesla from government procurement or slapping new safety investigations on its autopilot systems, partly in response to public backlash over Musk's perceived alignment with far-right politics. Tesla, once a darling of environmental progressives, now finds itself oddly aligned with a nationalist agenda that doesn't necessarily prioritize green technology except as a means to energy independence. It's a jarring repositioning. Then there is China. For years, Musk balanced praising China's efficiency with careful silence on its controversies, all to keep Tesla in Beijing's good graces. But circumstances have changed. China's own Tesla killers, like NIO, XPENG, LIAUTO, and especially the giant BYD, have surged. BYD in particular, backed by Warren Buffett and with deep government ties, has become the world's largest EV maker by volume, selling well over 1 million plug-ins a year, including hybrids. Chinese authorities, who initially welcomed Tesla to spur their domestic EV sector, now see domestic companies thriving and perhaps no longer need Tesla as much. If US-China relations deteriorate further, say over Taiwan or tech sanctions, Tesla's Shanghai factory could become a casualty. Whispers in Chinese state media question whether Tesla's cars are safe, or if data they collect could end up in American hands. In one ominous scenario, China's government considers mandating that all foreign EVs sold domestically store data on local servers accessible to authorities, which Tesla reluctantly complies with. But trust is eroding. Chinese consumers, nationalistic and proud of homegrown brands, start to favor BYD's latest offerings, which now often outsell Tesla's models in China on a monthly basis. Tesla responds by exporting more of its Shanghai output to Europe, but there it faces the anti-Musk headwinds we described. The walls seem to be closing in. Inside Tesla, discussions turn to belt-tightening and strategic resets. Elon Musk convenes a summit of his top engineers and lieutenants at Gigafactory, Texas. It's a tense scene, imagined but grounded in how Musk has led in crises before. Giant whiteboards filled with production schedules and cost-cutting targets. Musk pacing at the front of a conference room, asking for innovation under pressure. Can they accelerate development of the next-generation vehicle platform, a smaller, cheaper Tesla, to tap new markets? Should they license Tesla's supercharger network more widely to generate revenue? Musk, in a reflective mood, acknowledges that perhaps his foray into social media was a mistake, and that Tesla is my top priority going forward. Some insiders are skeptical. They've heard such promises before. But others see genuine determination in Musk's eyes, a familiar spark that got them through past trials. Tesla still has enormous strengths, a brand synonymous with EVs, industry-leading profit margins per car, even after price cuts, and billions in cash on hand. If it can weather the storm, Tesla could thrive as EV adoption continues growing worldwide. However, Musk himself is now a wild card. In past crises, 2008, 2018, Musk singularly focused on solving Tesla's problems. Now he's split between multiple empires: Tesla, SpaceX, which has its own high stakes with Starship and NASA contracts, and Twitter X, which still demands attention as it struggles financially. There is a striking scene mid-2025 where Musk is on a video call, simultaneously participating in a Tesla engineering review, while also live streaming a Twitter space about AI policy with government officials. It epitomizes his overextension, trying to be in two places at once. Some board members privately discuss whether Musk should step back from the CEO role at Tesla and become merely a product architect while a seasoned auto executive takes the helm. This idea was unthinkable before, but Tesla's stock slide and Musk's tarnished image make it a legitimate conversation. Musk hears of it and is initially furious. "I am Tesla," he reportedly snaps. But perhaps later, in a rare moment of introspection, he wonders if his own presence is doing more harm than good to the company he loves. It's a Shakespearean dilemma. The hero's flaws are now the empire's liability. On the technology front, Tesla also faces a turning point. Its vaunted autopilot, FSD software, still isn't fully autonomous as promised, and by 2025 competitors like Waymo and GM's Cruise have robo-taxis operating in limited city zones that are truly driverless. Tesla's approach without LiDAR and with millions of customer-driven miles still hasn't cracked generalized self-driving, and regulatory patience is thin for Tesla's beta approach, given some high-profile crashes. If Tesla doesn't demonstrate significant progress, it could face having to recall or disable features, an enormous setback. Musk, always the optimist, orders a focus sprint. All hands on FSD. We solve it this year or bust. It's reminiscent of past moments when he'd bet the company's future on a technological breakthrough. Those paid off. Model 3 production did eventually ramp. SpaceX's rocket did land vertically. Will this one? Or is full self-driving an unsolvable mirage under current AI techniques? The outcome of that bet will greatly influence Tesla's trajectory. As mid-2025 approaches, Tesla's performance shows some glimmers. Perhaps the deep price cuts and new federal EV tax credits, revised under a hypothetical Trump second term, or continuing from the 2022 IRA policy, have stabilized US sales. Maybe a refreshed Model 3, Project Highland, with cost improvements helps margins bounce back. The Cybertruck, finally delivered to customers in larger numbers, creates buzz. Some love its radical look on the roads, others hate it, but at least it's attention. Tesla's energy division quietly thrives, deploying megapack batteries for grid storage around the world, contributing steady revenue. These positives suggest Tesla can endure and doesn't vanish overnight. Yet the geopolitical angle remains precarious. One dramatic hypothetical: a sudden escalation in the Taiwan Strait leads to US sanctions on Chinese industries, and China responds by nationalizing key assets of US companies, including Tesla's Shanghai factory. Overnight, Tesla could lose its crown jewel of production capacity. Is this likely? It's a worst-case scenario, but not unimaginable given global tensions. Even short of that, China could impose export restrictions, like on battery materials, that hurt Tesla's supply chain. Scenarios are the sword of Damocles hanging over Tesla's global ambitions. In Europe, political shifts also pose risk. Imagine a Green Party minister in Germany deciding that Musk's flirting with the far right must have consequences. They push for an inquiry into environmental permits at Giga Berlin, slowing its expansion. or an EU-wide incentive program favoring local manufacturers over Tesla, perhaps requiring union labor or EU-sourced batteries for full subsidies. These subtle forms of protectionism could erode Tesla's competitive edge in Europe further. Meanwhile, European consumers' anti-Musk sentiment lingers. In some circles, owning a Tesla has unfortunately become a political statement, which is a nightmare for a brand trying to sell to a mass market. One cannot ignore the climate of media and public opinion either. Throughout 2023 to 2024, numerous exposés, books, and documentaries have come out critically examining Elon Musk's empire. Our very narrative here mirrors that style: investigative, unsparing. These analyses have brought to light things like Tesla's early overstatement of autopilot capabilities, its struggles with racial discrimination allegations at the Fremont factory, and labor disputes. Tesla remained non-union, but that fight intensifies as political leaders push for union-made EV incentives. The halo that once protected Tesla, the sense that it could do no wrong as the pioneer saving the world, has undeniably faded. Environmentalists now split their praise among many EV players, and some even criticize Tesla for not pushing faster into affordable segments or for the environmental toll of its energy-hungry Bitcoin experiments. Tesla bought and sold Bitcoin in 2021, and Musk's crypto dabbling left a sour taste with some environmental advocates. Musk's mercurial image, one day a genius, next day an internet troll, means Tesla is constantly one tweet away from another PR crisis. All these threads weave a complex tapestry of a company at a crossroads of destiny. The climax here is a realization. Tesla could indeed be doomed, not by one fatal blow, but by 1,000 cuts. There may not be a single moment where the company collapses. Instead, it could slowly decline, getting overshadowed by competitors, losing favor with key governments, and bleeding market share, until one day it's a cautionary tale of squandered leadership. This is a very real possibility the narrative must grapple with. Yet because reality is open-ended, we also consider Tesla might surprise us again. Perhaps Musk steps down as CEO and a new, less controversial leader revives trust. Maybe Tesla unveils a $25,000 car that sells like hotcakes in India and Southeast Asia, unlocking a second growth wind. Or Musk, free from Twitter distractions, engineers a technological breakthrough, say a new battery chemistry that is far cheaper, leaping Tesla ahead of rivals. These hopeful twists are not guaranteed, but they remain within Musk's playbook of defying odds. By the end of Chapter 7, we can paint how the central conflicts are reaching resolution points, or at least turning points. For example, the conflict of Musk's personal behavior, possibly resolved by him taking a step back or drastically changing approach after near disaster. The conflict of geopolitical pressure, may be temporarily resolved by Musk doing a media charm offensive or making concessions. Imagine Musk holding a press conference with Germany's chancellor, pledging to keep Tesla apolitical and invest in German jobs. Or Musk visiting China to personally assure compliance and maybe announce a donation to some Chinese charity to appease officials. In our geopolitical thriller narrative, such moves would be depicted as desperate but necessary maneuvers to buy Tesla more time. Will it be enough? The